It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleepy paths or allowed to morning. The love to sleep in us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 Reasons Sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah, Wake County, Heat Nation, we still proud.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
That was an early season signature win. That was remarkable what the Heat did tonight. It's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. We appreciate you being with us. We're only going to be with you for about 15 minutes tonight, so we're going to get in our takes here pretty quickly. Check out Brady's takeaways, which are already up on the SI site. Alex has several stories up there as well. The Miami Heat win 120-119 against the Los Angeles Clippers. They do it on the second night of a back-to-back. They do it when Kawhi Leonard and James Harden both played at a high level. They do it even though the officials tried to take it away, including a jump ball call when Norman Powell was mugged at the end. They do it even though the ball was in Kawhi Leonard's hands on the last possession, and the Heat basically swarmed him. Great positioning there by Powell in particular. They swarmed him, and they get the win, 120-119. We talked about when they would get the win on this road trip, a challenging road trip that's going to end in Denver. It comes tonight. A lot of players contributed to this. We appreciate all the comments that are coming in. We'll try to get some of these up here as we go. I got Brady Hawk with me. You can follow him at Brady Hawk 305. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. And I got Alex. You can follow him at Tropical Blanket. Let's start here. They didn't fold down the stretch. They could have. There were situations in this game where I thought they might. They gave up a lead at the start of the fourth quarter. They had a great start to the third quarter. They had great energy at the beginning of this game. There were pockets of the game that they fell back a little bit. There was some shot making from Leonard that was kind of off the charts. Harden, not known for doing this a whole lot, but he had a couple of 30-footers late in the game. But I'm going to go through some of these players. We'll get to a player of the game, and I'm going to let you guys choose it because I think there are a lot of options. But I look at Pelle Larsson, the energy in this game, his fourth game as a starter. I look at Norman Powell, the way he played against his old team. I look at Andrew Wiggins making big shots down the stretch of this game. And I look at Bam Adebayo, who put up numbers tonight, but they were significant numbers. Fourth quarter, late, they went to him a couple times. He made plays. I thought he was terrific for the most part in this game. And I'll start with you, Alex, tonight. I mean, we've talked about this. Is this team going to figure out how to close? They closed under some adverse circumstances tonight.
For sure. I mean, look, there was some similarities between some of the stuff that happened in the Lakers game as far as what went wrong in the first half. You know, the defense being kind of sloppy, the turnovers. They missed some free throws again tonight, not as bad as last night. But yeah, like there was some similarities, and I think you were just hoping that they wouldn't dig themselves in, like the same type of hole that they dug themselves in last night. And I think that was kind of the bigger difference, is that they were only down 5 in the first half as opposed to whatever it was, down 13 at the end of the first half last night. I think that ended up being the difference between them being able to claw back with good defense and just better play overall in the second half. I think that's the reason they were able to do it this time as opposed to last night. And especially down the stretch, like in the fourth quarter, like I think my biggest stat for this game, just a preview for, the stat recaps that I've been doing, is that they gave up a 137 offensive rating to the Clippers in the first half. And in the second half, that number went down to 96. That is a ginormous drop. Like the defense was just night and day better in the second half. And, like their offense and the game plan they're trying to run just looks so much better when they also defend.
Yep, and they did defend during that stretch. They turned it up in the third quarter. You can see the intensity. I thought Davion had some moments, obviously, but I thought Wiggins, the defense on Leonard in a lot of those situations. Brady, again, I don't want to get to the player of the night yet, but as you talk about sort of an ebb and flow of a game, it's a team that's learning how to play together. And Powell missed the last couple games, so you have to work him back in. Obviously, Tyler's going to go back in there. But they beat what seemed like a pretty connected team tonight. Like, I didn't think the Clippers played poorly at all. And to go in there second night of back-to-back and not have tired legs at the end of that game too, which I thought was significant. What did you take from this the most?
I'd say that you said it was a team win, and I think that's kind of important. I think you can go down the line and kind of talk about what everybody brought to this game on both ends. I mean, in the first half, the story was the starters didn't really have it at that level, and the bench energized them. I mean, there was a point when the bench came out the game, and I made a joke that was like, are they going to survive the non-bench minutes? Like that's how good the bench was in the first half. Like, it was like Kalel, I think we need to mention, was one of his best games this season, if not by far his best. Just being energized, being involved, being around defensively, making an impact on the game. Jaime didn't have his loudest game stats-wise, but I thought he was strong and just making the right decisions, not just getting off the ball if it wasn't his game. Drew Smith had a couple of plays where he kind of just was getting at it defensively. I thought the zone in that second quarter kind of turned things around, and Drew was kind of a big part of that. So you can go down the line, and that was the case in the first half. You turn to the second half, the bench didn't have it. I mean, they almost lost them the game. They had that big lead, and the game turned around, and all of a sudden it's a tie game, and they had to bring in the starters a little bit early. And the starters just absolutely played a great game in the second half. You mentioned the top of the third quarter. I thought they came out energized. Pelle was a big reason for that. I mean, he was doing just the little things. The fact that he had 4 shot attempts in this game and had that much impact is incredible. Like, just the off-ball stuff, the defense, the pressure, the energizing, like just giving a lift to that unit was huge. And you mentioned it, not getting into the player of the game, but you had your 3 best players on the floor tonight that looked like your 3 best players on the floor. Like, Bam, Powell, and Wiggins all came to play, had their moments, kind of popped offensively, and they did it next to one another. And it seems like it's coming naturally. I know Spo always uses that word where it's like happening in the natural flow of the game. That's what tonight looked like to me, and I think that's important. It wasn't like, okay, this point in the game, they're going to go all the way to Powell, and Powell's just going to try to create something. Or this part of the game, we're just going to go to Bam in the mid-post and see what he can get us. It really wasn't that. It was like whatever they could take on any given possession they went to. And my main takeaway that Alex mentioned already is this team we've seen could score. Like, they find ways. It's crazy to say that. I didn't think we'd be saying that about a Heat team, but their scoring is kind of a given at this point. When this team plays defense, they're hard to beat. Like, when they are locked in defensively, like when they're getting stops, when they're not fouling and letting the team get to the free throw line, which slows the game down and gets them away from their game. When they're able to run off misses and do all this stuff, that is when they're at their best. That is what, like, it all starts in the defensive end. It was choppy in the first half. I mean, giving up 71 points, but they turned it around in that second half. This team is a really good team when they're able to defend and get stops. It's an easy thing to say. It's a harder thing to do, but they did that in the second half, and you can see what it did for the offense.
Well, here's my biggest takeaway is I'm looking at the comments tonight, and we're trying to put some of them up, and everybody's mentioning somebody different, which is different for this team. People talking about Ware early. That was one of his better stints of the season. I thought there were stretches where Fontecchio did some things. We've talked about Larsson. We've talked about Mitchell, 9 assists, no turnovers tonight. Drew Smith had some moments. I mean, people are comparing Pelle Larsson to everybody from Keith Askins to Dwayne Wade. Let's take the Dwayne thing out of that. But there's some good things that he's obviously doing. And again, they don't have Tyler back yet, and we might get a look at Kaz before the end of the season also. So you start to talk about this, it's like everybody's focusing on, okay, Jovic is the one guy who seems to be consistently struggling, but a lot of other guys are playing at a pretty high level right now, and not at a level that we expected them to play at here. All right, let's get to Lynette, and let's get to the player of the night.
And now it's time for the A Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
All right, Alex, what do we got?
Oof. Honestly, I'm going to say it here. Very surprising, I know. Tough question. Nice call. Nice call. But no, it really is.
I don't know how I guessed that.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like they've got guys who, like they've got multiple guys who have a case here. I think Bam had a really nice game. You know, there was a couple of plays that weren't great, right? Like not perfect, not a perfect game, but overall, I thought he had a strong game. I thought Norm was doing his thing, and honestly, they probably could have gone to him more in this game. I felt like, for as efficient as he is, like it felt like he really wanted to, you know, leave his imprint on the game from the moment that game tipped off. And I kind of felt they should have gone to him more at the end, but hey, it worked out because the other guy who has a case here is Andrew Wiggins. He made shots tonight. He played defense. He played well. For as much as I get frustrated with his lack of handle and passing craft, like he's still good at the stuff he's good at. Now, you know, you're not always going to get this version of Wiggins, but you got it tonight. And I think all three of them have a case. I think Pelle had an awesome game, and I know you mentioned it already. Davion like just continues to slide by doing this stuff where like he's getting into the paint, he's getting these high assist, low turnover games, and he's playing strong defense. Like they're getting great play out of multiple guys, and I don't really know that there is one guy that is an obvious answer for play of the game. I guess if I had to pick one, it would be Bam. But again, like I don't feel strongly about it.
I'm going with Bam. I'm going with Bam because we give him a hard time when he doesn't come through in those moments. And, you know, when they needed him down the stretch of the game, I think you can make a case for Wiggins. I think you make a case for Larsson. I think you make a case for Norm. But I'm going with Bam because, again, we're always all over him. Like, where does he go late in games? Today he didn't go. He was right there. And, you know, in a lot of ways, he helped lead them down the stretch. I do think what we're getting at here is that they may be different than they've been in the fact that they may be greater than the sum of their parts. We're seeing a little bit of that early in the season. We talk about pockets of the game where guys are playing well, but they're making each other better here. Davion is making other guys on the team better. Larsson comes in, he ups the energy. Last year, I felt they were subtracting from each other before Jimmy was traded and after Jimmy was traded. I don't feel that way this year. I feel like they are in some ways connected. They're going to make mistakes. Sometimes they're going to play too fast. Sometimes they're not going to defend, as Brady's talked about, and that's been a problem. But I do think overall we've seen them be additive to each other, and that is a credit to the coach, but it's also a credit to some fits, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Tyler comes back. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of lead time here. Let's get to the play of the night because I think there was a lot.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you if you work in a hospital or a medical office. Get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
I thought that Wiggins 3 late, there a couple of passes to lead to that one. I think that put them up 110 to 107 or something along those lines. I thought that was big. Obviously, we could talk about the last play of the night, but what do you have?
The Wiggins 3 was big. Just that if you were to ask me, I think I might even go Wiggins as player of the game just because, I mean, you talk about being hard on Bam. I think people are equally as hard on Wiggins and for getting that type of play late in the game and coming through, specifically getting it defensively. I thought he was really good on Harden and Kawhi for pockets, even though they were just being themselves and getting to those shot-making modes. I thought he was really good on that end. But the play of the game to me was the Bam possession guarding Harden late in the game. I mean, he hit the really nice mid-range bucket to go up 2, which was nice in its own way. Just kind of the stuff we talk about against, funny enough, against Brook Lopez on the other side that was on the bench in that possession. But gets that mid-range jumper over the top of him, goes back on the other end, switches on to Harden, locks him up, ends up in a turnover. I think Powell ended up getting the steal. Yeah, that's the stuff you want late in games from your best player. That's the type of stuff you want to see on both ends. So, yeah, you can't really fault for leaning in Bam's direction. I just thought he was really strong for majority of the game. And he doesn't seem to me like somebody that's becoming the first option offensively in games like this at times, and he doesn't look like he's pressing. Like, it kind of just seems – I keep saying the same phrase, but, like, doing it in the flow of the game is important. I mean, when you're playing this style – where it's an everybody eats style, where it's everybody's touching the ball, everybody's attacking, everybody's scoring. It's tough to do what he does, where it's like, okay, now I'm going to grab the ball and get it in my spot, and I'm going to be selfish and try to attack. I thought he picked his spots and his moments pretty well tonight, where he kind of got down at the end of the game and it was like, okay, well, let me settle this down. Like, just come give me the ball, and if they double, which they didn't, I'll kick. But if not, I'm going to have to take some of these shots. And he even had one of them late where he missed, and he kind of thought he was fouled. I think he thought he got underneath him when he landed, but he ended up coming up short on it. I still like that type of shot. I like him kind of leaning into it and getting just going at the basket, taking the short jumper. So yeah, credit to him, but credit to that defensive possession guarding Harden, because that's not easy to do.
So there are 2 things I think we can count on every night. You're going to get defense from Bam, and you're going to get consistent offense from Powell. He hasn't had a bad night yet. And I think this is who he is. I mean, there'll be some nights that aren't as efficient as others, but to have gotten a guy from this team, by the way, he looks better than Bradley Beal. And one of the reasons the Heat were able to get Powell and they called on him was because they knew that Beal was going to become available. I'm talking about the Clippers, not the Heat. And I mean, look what Norm is doing for the Heat. And I do think he's going to get even better looks once Tyler gets back. So this is, It's the heist of the offseason, honestly. I mean, we knew it at the time, but if you look at the way it's playing out, and to do that coming off a groin injury also, I know they were attacking him at times. Kawhi was kind of targeting him. I mean, that's going to happen. But I thought overall he played really well. You know you're going to get that every night. But let's finish with this, because we've talked about what happens when Tyler comes back. We had this conversation after the Laker game about Pelle Larsson. We have to have it again. Like, he does not feel like a guy that Spo's going to shelve, right? I mean, he started for you. And this is not a huge surprise. I mean, you know how I felt about Pelle all offseason. So, I mean, I went into the season expecting him to be a rotation guy, but then Jaquez popped. So now you kind of have everybody's focusing on Jovic, and I get it, and Ware to a certain degree. But Jaquez and Larsson are doing as much or more than you expected. Jaquez is definitely doing more. And Larsson is coming to the level that I thought he was going to get to this season, and now we're seeing as the starter. So I guess I'll leave it to both of you guys. What do they do? I mean, is there any you're not taking Davion out of the starting lineup, right? Are we not sure on that? You're taking Larsson out. You're making Larsson the 11th man. Fontecchio's not going to.
Can we have some fun? Can we have some fun and play 11?
Have some fun. Well, do you think he's going to play?
It's not going to happen.
Play,
no, I think this is like. Again, like, I'm very much playing into the character, because I say this every year. Like, I'm always a 10-man rotation type of guy. So yeah, like me going 11 is not surprising. I get it, but like, they just have so many guys playing well, other than like Nico, honestly. And I don't think like Nico, like it's. Are you really gonna just take him out of the rotation now? Like, is that the move? Right? Like, I don't think it is. After you just paid him, after like there's clear value in what he does. Like, I think you got to figure that out, as opposed to just taking him out. But I don't think Pelle should go back out of the rotation. He's playing too well. Yeah. The thing is that there's no other guys that you can just take out and feel good about for Pelle to get in, because Drew is playing well. Fontecchio is playing well. Haka is like, he didn't have a great game today, but bounce back season for sure, right? Like, there's just no clear candidate. Again, like, I understand Nico's not playing well, but you have to find space for Pelle. I would love if they somehow, like, especially with like this pace that they're playing at, if they somehow found a way to run some sort of 11-man rotation. I just know it's not going to happen.
I think it
sounds like they need a consolidation trade, right? Sounds like they need a consolidation trade. Yeah. Okay. But
I also just think it's as crazy as it sounds, because I've been propping him up and seeing how good he's playing, and Spo always leans into him. I do think inevitably it's going to be Drew, just because he's not on the ball a ton anyway right now. I mean, he's kind of out there just for the everything else stuff. Like it's off the catch threes. He'll do a little bit of creating, but it's mostly the point of attack defense. And if you're getting this level of the other stuff from Pelle, where he's getting, not getting into foul trouble specifically, but being kind of your dog on the perimeter defensively, it makes it a little bit easier to lean into that. I'm just not as confident in it just because I still think they need that extra, guard in the rotation when Davion isn't playing. So it is tough. I mean, as Nico's not playing well, but they still need what he provides in a lot of ways that they're going to get to a point in the season where they're going to need to tap into what he brings. Like they just are. It's not going to be every game where Jaime's able to put his head down and get to the basket and be efficient. In the games that he's not able to do that, they have to turn the keys over to Nico in a lot of ways. So they're not going to put him out of the rotation. So I'm kind of with Alex. I think they should go 11. I mean, look, we were saying before the season, like, we'll Spo dare to go 10. And here we are where he's almost doing a hockey lineup in a meaningful game to start the regular season where he's going to these 5-man bench units. It's not crazy to say that he goes to that too. I mean, I think it's all dependent on what you need on certain matchups. I mean, if you need the shooting, which right now you do, you go to Fontecchio. I'm hesitant to say it, but I think when they do get Tyler back in this specific scenario, it's not crazy to say that Fontecchio is going to be on that outside the mix spot as well, just because if they have enough shooting and they're not going to be in many lineups with Powell and Hero on the bench at the same time, they're just not. It's going to be one of them on the floor. They could probably get away with enough shooting in those lineups and offense, especially if Jaime's running the show. So I do think Pelle is in the rotation for good, kind of moving forward, even when Tyler comes back. It's going to be between Drew and Fontecchio.
Van Lee is asking if the Rozier contract is tradable, and I think that's a good place to end here. Look, I think what may happen is he may go into games with the thought that he could play 11, but not necessarily play 11. I think there may be some guys who are on short leashes. Like if Jovic's first stint is not good, Ware's first stint is not good. I understand it's harder with them because they're front court players. But I could see them making a change. If Fontecchio doesn't have it that night, then he maybe goes to somebody else in the second half. I just
issue with him.
Am I frozen again? Am I frozen again? Is that why you're laughing? Okay.
No, you're good. But
yeah.
The scary part is if you're going 11 and you're picking between that mindset, there's going to be games where he's going to Drew over Khalil Ware. Like if he's having that mindset, like if he's going to shelve somebody, there's going to be a lot of nights if he's just going to say, okay, well, Khalil doesn't have it in this game. I'm going to play smaller, and that's what you're going to end up seeing, which I think could become problematic. But, I mean, Khalil brought it tonight. If he could bring it that level every night, Spo's not going to ever shelve him.
No, but again, I think he's got a lot of different options, and I think we're probably going to see Tyler in about 2 weeks. Don't aggregate me on that, but that's what looks like the course is. It's kind of what was the plan at the beginning, and so we'll see. Brady, the score part is actually Ethan's frozen face last night. That's nice. Okay, we appreciate all the comments tonight. We went 22 minutes. I said we go 15, but everybody, we were all economical tonight. Great win for the Heat, 120 to 119. I did not mention off the floor this entire time. Alex won't let me leave until I do. Make sure you sub to Off the Floor. The link is right here in the description. $2.99 per month. Also, Sports Illustrated. We have the On SI page for the Heat, Magic, and Grizzlies. You guys only care about one of those, but we're all writing for the Heat page. So check that out. Again, it's On SI. Just type in Miami Heat Sports Illustrated. You'll find
everything is in the description, by the way, including the SI links and Discord
and blood types. Everything. It's all there.
Social Security, all that. Mother's maiden name.
Right. No, we don't have. We have not done a John Moran pod yet, so that will probably come tomorrow. Man, you guys want to? I don't know.
Yeah, I did write a story on it. If you want a little bit.
You did.
Of that.
You can check that out. This is kind of free flowing. I don't know. I don't know. I know it feels like the Tim Hardaway move from '96, but Pat would push for this, I think. But I don't know. Anyway, appreciate everybody for staying up so late with us, Alex and Brady as well. We'll get Greg back in the mix of the normal hour. Have a good one.